Okay, guys, we are live. I hope my audio is clear and my screen is visible. If you face any difficulties, then you can definitely inform me in the live chat. I'll fix the things. So let's begin. All right, I think we can start. So hey everyone, and in this video we'll start our data structures journey. In the first video we learned about introduction to data structures in JavaScript. So please watch that video. It will give you an overview of how you can actually work with the data structures. What are the different data structures which are available in JavaScript, and most probably you will be working with arrays and objects to treat other data structures also. All right, so now we can begin with our first data structure, that is arrays. So array data structure is a very great data structure, and you will be using it a lot of different languages like C, C++, JavaScript, Python, Java. All of them have arrays. There are definitely different rules for arrays in separate languages, but yeah, they share some common logics. So to be specific, in JavaScript, we'll be just going into terms of JavaScript. Okay. So arrays are a collection of elements that can be of any data type in JavaScript. Okay. So in if you are only talking about JavaScript, that is you have an array in JavaScript. An array can contain different type of data types, that is string, integer, float, any kind of different data type in a single array. Okay, so in other languages like C++, it's not possible. Only one data type is allowed in a single array. But in JavaScript, we can store integers, strings, float, decimal types, any kind of types of data types in a single array. So that's the benefit of arrays in JavaScript, and it provides us some independence, and we are actually free to use anything. Okay. All right. So now we'll be just first of all getting an overview of arrays in JavaScript. Then we'll be performing some tasks. And also I'll introduce you to how you can actually run JavaScript from your terminal. Okay, so we'll start with that. So before moving on, I actually wanted to tell you that we have a dedicated course at Geeks for Geeks practice website for data structures and algorithms in JavaScript. So those who want to learn data structures and algorithms from beginners to advanced level can definitely check out the course. The link of that course is available in the live chat. You can check in the live chat. And also you can check out the description for that link. So once you click that link, it will actually take you to this page. Okay, so you can definitely visit that link, and this is a paid course. You can enroll for this one, and it's a recent launch course by Sandeep sir. So he's the founder of Geeks for Geeks, and you can read more about this course and about our Sandeep sir. Okay, so this is a very great course, and if you are in development field, that is web development and app development, this is really going to help you a lot. All right, so now we can continue. So now I'll just give you a overview of what is an array. Okay, so array can be treated as your almirah. Okay, almirah, I mean that where you can store your things, or you can consider array as your showcase. Okay, showcase. So where you can actually store different kind of things like showcase in where you can store your achievements, your photos, and your trophies, etc. So array can be considered as a showcase where different kind of things can be stored all together. I'm talking about JavaScript. Okay, so in JavaScript, different kind of data types can be stored in a single array. So let's explore about arrays. So in JavaScript, array is a data structure that stores a collection of elements of any type. Okay, so I'll just write a few points here so that you will remember them. And I'm just taking basics of arrays, but obviously you will be knowing some amount of JavaScript, so you must be familiar with arrays. Okay, I'll assume that you will be familiar. You are familiar with JavaScript. You have learned JavaScript from somewhere. Okay, all right. So All right. So our first point was, in JavaScript, array is a data structure that stores a collection of element of any type. Okay, so any type of elements. What I mean by any type, any data type, like you can store a string, you can store a integer, you can store a float type, etc. Whatever data types are available in JavaScript can be stored in an array. Okay, so in array actually there are different kind of containers. Okay, so I hope this design looks good. Okay, so yeah. So array can be considered as a container. You need to define you can actually have some size for arrays in different languages. Like in some languages we need to define the size, but in JavaScript we generally don't define the array size. We just pass the element initially. Okay, and then we can actually manipulate the array. Array is dynamic in JavaScript, so it's really helpful. Okay, so array in JavaScript is really much better than other languages. I would consider that. Okay, so suppose your array contains a few elements and let's give them some spacings. Suppose my first element is 1, second element is a. So as you can see, we have different kind of elements here. Third is 1.7 and so on. Okay, so you can actually store anything. Like if I want to store my name, if I write HJ here, and obviously it will be a string, so inverted commas, in single or double, it won't cause any issue. Or you can also store any object inside this, inside a particular block, and there are a lot of things which you can store. Okay, so let's just write something else, right? Okay, so as you can see, we can store different kind of things at a single time in any array of JavaScript. All right, so an array in JavaScript can hold any type of data, including numbers, strings, objects, even other arrays. Okay, so you can actually store another array also. So if I just remove this, you can actually store another array. By the way, an array can be actually depicted with these square brackets. Okay, array are declared with these square brackets. So for example, now let's declare an array. This is just you can say an imaginary diagram of an array. Okay, in JavaScript we generally declare some array something like this. So suppose if I declare an array, I'll say let numbers. Okay, let me just write it full, equals. So that's how you can just declare a variable in JavaScript. It's very simple. And here you just need to say whatever are the elements. Suppose my elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how you can actually declare an array in JavaScript. Okay, you can also create another kind of array for separate things, like you can actually create a fruit array. Okay, so it will actually contain all the fruits, whatever are the fruits. Here you can observe that I haven't decided what's the size of my array. Okay, later on I can actually increase or decrease the elements inside this array very easily. Okay, so that's the benefit of JavaScript over other languages. It gives you a lot of freedom to manipulate things. Okay, so suppose you can say we have apple, we have grapes. Okay, so we have another kind of fruit named as chiku. Okay, I don't remember what we call chiku in English, so I'll just write chiku. Okay, sounds cute. All right, so you can define as many elements as you can, and it's there isn't any limitation to define any size, and you can actually use an array in different kind of things. Suppose you have an e-commerce platform where you have thousands of mobiles. Okay, you have data for thousands of mobile. So whenever you watch any e-commerce platform in the backend side, the data actually comes in array format or some data structure format. So you can assume this as a data. All right, so different kind of data can come here, and also you can define objects inside array. How you can do that? Suppose let's let users. Okay, suppose we have user data of different users. Okay, so how can we show that? Suppose our first object contains the user data of Harshad. Okay, so I'll just say name equals Harshad. Just a minute. Okay. And similarly, you can say, you can define your age also. So just give a comma, just give a comma, and you can say, suppose the age is 25. Okay, the age is 25. So you can see that this is an integer and this is a string. So you can actually pass different things in an object. We learn this when we start learning about objects, okay, in further videos. So this is suppose our first object, and similarly we can actually store our second object with some more details. Okay, so if you are familiar with object, then it's good, else you just need to know that we can define different objects inside a single array. Okay, so you can actually create an array inside an array also. There are options to create that. Okay, so this is a very basic overview of array, and now we'll be looking how we can actually access these elements in an array. This is very important because this is just the basic building block how we can learn other data structures. So this is very important. All right, so how can we do that? So for accessing any array, we can just simply define the index. Okay, so what's the index? Suppose if I talk about this, if I talk about this array, okay, so let me just change the color. And suppose if I say numbers, okay, so it's too dark. Let me just change the color. Okay. All right, so here you can say, suppose if I want to access one, okay, that is this one. I'm talking about this one. Okay, so how can I do that? I can simply call numbers, the array which I want, okay, the element of the array. And now the name of the array is here. Okay, we need which index? So indexing starts from 0. This is the 0th index, this is the first index, this is the second index, this is the third index, this is the fourth index. So if I talk about one, if I want the value 1 here, this is the value 1 and this is the index. Don't get confused. Okay, so if I talk about this one, I'll target the 0th index. So for that, I can simply say I want the 0th index of this array. Very easy. Okay, similarly, if I want the value 2, okay, then I can simply say 2 is where this 2 is actually in the first index, is in the first index. So I can simply say numbers first index. Okay, so that's how you can call things. Suppose if I talk about this fruits array, okay, suppose if I want apple, okay, suppose if I want apple, so again I would say just call the fruits array, fruits array. Inside this I want the index of apple, so the index of apple is 0. Okay, suppose if I want index of chiku, okay, suppose if I want index of chiku, so the index of chiku is actually 2. Okay, that is, it's in the second index. How it's in the second index? The 0th index is apple, first index is grapes, and second index is chiku. Okay, so that's how you can get things. So if I talk about this again, fruits and second index, that's how you can play with this. Suppose I want the last element, so last element is always the length of this array minus 1 index. Okay, that is, suppose you can see the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let me just zoom it a bit so that it's more visible. Okay, so here you can clearly see that we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the indexes, and the size of this array is 5. So the index actually ends minus 1. Okay, suppose there are 5 elements. Suppose there are 5 elements in an array. Okay, then the last index will be actually 5 minus 1. Okay, last. Okay, last index. So these are some basic terms which you need to know. That is, the indexing will end at 4. Okay, end at 4. That's what you can see. This 4, this 4. Okay, this is the 4 which I'm talking about. So index ends at 4. So suppose if I want to get the value of last element, I can simply say I want this numbers array. Okay, inside this I'll just call length of numbers array. Okay, there are functions in this JavaScript arrays which we'll be exploring. Okay, so length of this numbers array, that will come out to be 5. Okay, minus 1. Okay, this will simply give us what? This will simply give us the n minus 1 index, that is the fourth index, that is the last index. Okay, so I hope you got this. Okay, so we'll be exploring these things. These are just some basics, just some basic overview of arrays, and definitely some of you might know these terms because these are just some basic terms which you learn in basic JavaScript also. Okay, so now we'll be doing this in programming. Okay, we'll be doing this by writing code. All right, so let's begin. But before moving on, in the live chat, just let me know what are the terms which you face difficulty on. Okay, definitely in areas there are some advanced concepts. You can just ask me. So if I watch this live stream, right now I'm looking into your chats, but definitely sometimes I miss up your chats. So in the next video, we might cover those topics. All right, so let's move on with the coding part. And one more thing, in the live chat and in the description, you'll find a link of course provided by Geeks for Geeks. That's a data structure and algorithm course, which is a paid course, and it will introduce you to data structures and algorithms in basics to advanced. Okay, so you can check out this course, and this is launched recently, so it's a fresh course and with the fresh, all the fresh concepts. Also, it's taught by Sandeep sir. That is, he's the founder of Geeks for Geeks, so he has a very great teaching experience. So it's a very great opportunity. You can learn from him. All right, so you can just explore the things which you will be learning in this course. And if you want to enroll for this, definitely you can go for it. And if you are a web developer or app developer, then it's recommended. All right. So before moving on, first thing which you need to make sure is that you have Node.js. Okay, so for that you can simply type node js.org. Okay, so first of all, you need to install this LTS one. Okay, you might find this different version later on, but you need to make sure that you have installed the LTS one. I wouldn't suggest the current one because it might have some bugs. Definitely, you can use it if you want, but LTS is always the stable one. Okay, so you can just download it, and once you downloaded the Node.js setup, okay, it will actually download the Node.js setup by just clicking it. It will start downloading Node.js. You can see that it starts it, and once you install this, just click next, 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 and then you're good to go. Okay, then nothing to do with the settings part. Okay, just click on next, 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 just like you install video games, and then you're good to go. Okay, so after installing Node.js, you need to install one more thing, that is VS Code. So again, for VS Code, you just need to type VS Code. Okay, so it's actually VS Code, and here you can just visit the first link, and you can check out whatever platform you are using. Okay, I don't know why it's taking too much time right now. All right, so here you can see that we have download for Windows, but you have Mac OS or Linux, you can check out for different versions. So I can simply click on this download for Windows, and it will start downloading the setup. Okay, so once you start downloading the setup, you can actually install VS Code. And in VS Code, you need to make sure one thing while installing VS Code. If you have already installed VS Code, and if you are skipping some of my steps, please hear this carefully. While installing VS Code, you need to make sure one thing, that is whenever you get a checkbox while installation part, while installing the setup, just click that checkbox. Okay, just tick that checkbox and then click next, next, next. Okay, whatever checkbox you get while the installation part, just click next, 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 and then you're good to go. All right, so once you have installed Node.js in VS Code, then we are on same page. We can continue with coding JavaScript and getting the results on terminal. Okay, so basically, Node.js is actually required. We won't be learning definitely Node.js right now, but Node.js is actually required to run JavaScript on your system. Okay, we usually get JavaScript outputs in the console of our browser, but if you want to get the results on your system, on your terminal, then you use Node.js mostly. Okay, so let's start, and I'll be just creating a basic folder. I'll just name it as JSDS. GFG. Okay, so all of my codes will be available here. Okay, so here what we'll do is we'll simply open this with code. Okay, open this with VS Code. So here what we are going to do is, suppose this is lecture 2, so I'll just say lecture 2. Okay, so that it's easy for us to judge. Okay, so in lecture 2 we can simply say that, suppose we can simply name it as script 1.js, suppose. Okay, it's not any foundation with the names here. Okay, so script 1.js, and here you can actually write your code. Okay, so for testing purpose, I can simply write console. You don't need to install anything extra apart from these. Okay, so console.log. Inside this, you can just say hello. Okay, so you can simply say hello world. Okay, so that's how you can actually write basic JavaScript code. You must be familiar with that. Then you need to open a new terminal here. Okay, so I hope the code is visible. And in the terminal, you can simply, first of all, you need to make sure you are in the correct directory. We must be inside lecture 2, because inside lecture 2 we have the main file which we are working on. So you must be inside lecture 2 in the terminal also. So one thing is, you can simply type cd. uh, First of all, you can type ls. Okay, so it will give you a lot of information about this. Else what you can do is as you can what you can do is, you can simply type cd lecture 2. Okay, so it will simply switch to lecture 2. Inside the JS DS GFG folder, we have lecture 2 folder. Inside this, we have script 1.js. Okay, so now first of all, you need to check that Node.js is installed or not. So for that, you can simply type node dash v. Okay, so it will give you the version of Node.js which is installed in your computer. Okay, so we have 18.14.2. So you can definitely choose a different version, and if you're watching this later on, then you'll definitely get a different version. So don't worry about that. It's reliable. Okay, so we have this version of Node.js, and now I think we are good to go. So now we need to run this file. We want to run this file. So for that, we can simply say node, and here we need to say script.js. You can simply type the name like this. Okay, it's actually script1.js. And here you can simply see, I hope the terminal is visible. We have hello world here. Okay, we have hello world here. That means it's working fine. All right. So now what do we need to do is, I'll just zoom it more so that it's more visible. All right, so that's how you can actually connect your JavaScript file directly to the terminal. You can run JavaScript file directly from the terminal. So now our setup is complete, and we'll be performing some basic operations which are required now. Okay, so first of all, let's create an array. Okay, let's create an array, and for that we can simply say let my array. Okay, you can simply create any variable name here, and for creating an array, you can simply write the values here. Suppose I write 1 2 3. Okay, so here we have this array. So that's how you can actually create a basic array in JavaScript, and then we'll be later on knowing how we can access them. Okay, by the way, if you declare an empty array, okay, an empty array, this will also work. Okay, this will also work. There isn't any foundation to pass element inside this initially. Later on, you can use push and pop commands to actually manipulate the array as per your wish. Okay, so it's not about the size of the array. You can actually change the size. Right now its size is nothing, but if you have one element inside this, the size will become 1, and similarly you can manipulate the size using push and pop later on. Okay, so we'll be learning this while we will perform the operations on arrays. Okay, so I'll just copy this, and this is the first form of declaration, and always unique variables. Okay, so you can see that's why we are actually using let here. That's why we need to define unique variables. If you have used where here, you won't be needing unique variable names. Okay, so here you can see my array 1 1 2 3 4 5. And what else we can say is, there are actually another forms of declaring an array. So let's look at them one by one. All right, so we have some queries in the live chat. Similarly, you can actually define array in some other format. You can say my array 3 equals. First of all, you can simply define an empty array like this, new array Inside this you can define an empty array. Okay, this is also another form of declaring an array. So actually these two are basically same. Okay, these two are basically same, and I would suggest that you can definitely go for this one. This is easier and it won't cause any change. Okay, so my array 3 is something like this. Similarly, you can actually define this with some values also. Okay, so my array 4 and the values can be suppose 1 2 3. Okay, 4. So here you can see that this is actually same as this. Okay, so that's how you can compare these things. Now there are also another methods where you can perform arrays, and suppose if I want to get the 0th index of this array, or suppose the second index of this array, so I can simply say console dot log. Okay, suppose if I say that I want to get my array 4th, okay, and I want to get its 0th index. Okay, so what will happen is actually, first of all, if you want to get the previous commands, you can simply press for upward arrow. Okay, just press upward arrow and it will run that again. So here you can see I got 1 here, that's the 0th element, and similarly you can access other elements. So these are the two important ways where you can declare any array. There are also other methods like array.from and array.off, but I won't suggest that you must learn them because these are fine. Okay, these are fine. You can follow any one of them. And most special is this one because this is the general one which is used everywhere. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the declaration of an array. Now, how can we access the elements? We actually access the element here. We actually access the first element by calling the 0th index. Okay, similarly, if you want to call this element, you can again name the array name here. Okay, that is my array 1. Okay, and you can call the 0th index to get this one. You must be understanding that. Okay, so suppose I want to get the second. I want to get the second, that is value 2. So for that we need to call the first index. Okay, so you can see that if I hit enter, you can see I'm getting the second index. Okay, suppose if I say I want to get the third index. Okay, third index, let's see. So here you can see I'm getting 4. Suppose if I, you can see that right now we have only 3 indexes, that is oh sorry, we have 4 indexes, 0 1 2 3, but that is up to 3, 0 to 3. Okay, we have four indexes but 0 to 3. Suppose if I type 4 here, okay, 4 here, which is we don't have the fourth index, what will happen is it will give us undefined, because after 3 0 1 2 3 we have nothing. Okay, so that's why we are getting undefined. So you must be knowing the length of your array. Suppose I want to access the last element. Okay, I don't know what is its indexes. Suppose I don't know the size of my array, how can I do that? Okay, so in JavaScript we can actually find the size of our array. Okay, for that we can simply say, suppose I want to get the size of this array, my array 4. So for that I can simply type dot length. That's it. Okay, so it will actually give us the length of our array. So our length of the array is 4. You can see I have 4 elements. Suppose if I introduce 5 6 7 8. Okay, 5 6 7 8. Again you can see now we have 8 elements in the array. Okay, suppose if I want to get the last element. Okay, I want to get the last element, I can simply say last element's index will be what? Okay, we'll just see this right now. 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. The index of this will be 7. Since the size is 8, last index will be 7. How can we do that? We can simply say give me the 7th index, that is length minus 1. Okay, length minus 1. So I can simply say my array 4. Inside this again brackets, because whatever you are accessing will be inside the bracket. Okay, whatever index you are accessing will be inside the bracket. Then you need to say just call the length, minus 1 index. Okay, that is it will simply call 8 minus 1, 8 minus 1, 7th index. Okay, 7th index, that is this. Okay, so now if I try to run this, you can simply get 8. Okay, suppose if I remove this, suppose if I bring it till 6, now you'll be getting the last value, that is 6. Okay, so that's how you can actually play with these and you can manipulate the basics. Okay, so now we can actually get, suppose you want to get all the values of this array. Okay, this is actually giving one by one values. Okay, we are changing, and when we are actually not getting all the values, so for getting all the values you can simply say, by the way, this is commenting. If you don't know, this is actually commenting, and this code will be actually ignored. will be actually ignored. Okay, it's there, you can see it, but it will be ignored by the whatever JavaScript code you have written. Okay, so here I'll just say that suppose I want to access the whole array. Okay, suppose I want to access the whole array, and now we'll be just taking the normal array because these are just some explanatory terms and are not required much. So now we'll be suppose we have this array. Okay, suppose we have this very basic array, and suppose we are we want to access all the elements of this array. How can we do that? Okay, so for accessing these values, you can simply say just call a for loop. So for loop is actually a kind of loop in JavaScript. And if you don't know JavaScript, please watch the basics and please learn JavaScript before watching the data structures in JavaScript. Okay, specifically. Okay, so here you can simply say for let. Okay, you can just name any variable name, but usually people declare it with I. Okay, so let I equals 0. And now we want to actually run our loop from, we actually want these four values, right? These four values. That means the length of array is 4. So we want our loop to run for 4 times, right? 4 times. How can we do that? Suppose let's start with 1. Okay, let's start with 1 so that you get a better idea. So suppose I am in the first. Okay, let's start with 0. I'll just explain it. Suppose I am in the 0th index. Suppose I'm in the 0th index. That means I am here. Okay. Suppose I'm in the first index. I equals 1. I am here. Suppose I'm in the second index. 3. Okay. Suppose I'm in third index. That I'm in 4. Okay. So I want to actually run this till third index. Okay, to get all the values, I want to run it till third index. That means my array dot length minus 1. Okay, my array dot length minus 1. To get the last index of the array, you actually need to run it till minus 1. Okay, length minus 1. So for that, you can simply say I less than my array 1 dot length. By the way, these suggestions are actually coming from GitHub Copilot. Somebody was asking in the live chat, that's why I told you. So GitHub Copilot, I think, is a paid one, but I got it somewhere from College ID. Okay, so you can actually get GitHub Copilot for free for some time. Okay, so yeah, my length minus 1, my array 1 dot length minus 1, and now we have the two conditions. Okay, we have the two conditions. One more condition will be, we want to increment this, right? We want to increase the value. So for that, we'll be using the post increment, that is I plus plus, that is post increment. These are some basic concepts of JavaScript. Okay, you need to know JavaScript first. All right, so inside this, what can we actually do here is, okay, I actually did a mistake here. You need to specify semicolon here, okay, not comma. Hmm. Okay, I hope now it's clear. So here, suppose if I want to get the value of all the elements, okay, so right now I'm in the 0th index, so it will give me the value of 0th index. Then I will increment. Now I'll get the value of first index. Now I'll increment. Now I'll get the value of second index. Now I'll increment. Now I'll get the value of third index. I will increment. Now once I increment, okay, once I will increment for the third index, it will become 4. Okay, now I equals 4. It will check the condition. Is 4 less than 3? Okay, is 4 less than 3? You can see 0, 1, 2, 3. No, 4 is not less than 3. 4 goes outside. 4 goes outside. Okay, the indexing ends at 3. Okay, so the loop will stop running automatically. Okay, so now to get the values, suppose I want to just print those values, console.log, and I can simply say my array, and you can just give the index. Okay, the index, whatever index we are at right now, my array 1. Okay, so very properly you need to give the namings here. Okay, so suppose now if I try to run this, you can see I am getting 1 2 3. Okay, so I am actually getting 1 2 3, but the problem with this is actually I made a mistake. Okay, I made a mistake here. What was the mistake? You need to see that you are running till where. Okay, you can see right now it's at 0. Okay, 0, the value is 3. Okay, value of index must be lesser than 3. I want it to be lesser than equal to 3. Okay, so this is very important. Just make sure you are using correct logics here. Okay, so now it will run from 0, 1, 2, and the last will be 3. If it's greater than 3, if the value of index is greater than 3, the loop will stop running. Okay, I hope you got this. So now if I run this, it will give me 4 values. All right, so these are some basics which you can use to access the array. All right, so you can also perform some actions like suppose I want to multiply each element by 2. Can be each element by 2. So it will actually multiply each element by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's how you can play with this. All right. Okay. So now we will actually explore some basic array operations, very basic array operations. Okay. These are something which you must know. Okay. You must know. All right. So let's say that we have this array. Okay. We have this array. Although for sorting, you can actually create a for loop and you can perform sorting operation. But now we'll be creating using the method, predefined method, that is sort method, to sort any array. Okay, suppose it's 23, 35 and something like this. Okay, you can see that that is an unsorted array. Okay, so now to sort this array, I'll simply say my array1 dot sort. Okay, my array1 dot sort. Okay, if you just leave it like this, it will sort automatically to the values according to the numerical values. So suppose now if I again call this if I again call this. By the way, what happens if you call directly? If you call this directly, suppose if I just say console.log my array1, what will happen? Let's see. So here you can see you can get the array like this. But if you want to get elements each one by one, then you need to call the for loop or different kind of loops. Okay, so there is the difference. And you can perform operations while calling a for loop. You can't perform any operation while calling it directly. Okay, so that was the difference. So yeah, now you can actually see that it's actually sorted in some other way. Okay, you can see it's actually sorted in some other way. Okay, so for that you need to specify some things like here you can see right now it was 23 to 35 and 4. It actually sorted according to the first value. Okay, so we need to fix this. So for that, suppose we don't have two-digit value. Suppose we had 7 and we had 9 here. Okay, now what will happen? Let's see. So now if I hit enter, you can see it's sorted. So if you have two-digit values, you can't actually use directly this sort. You need to specify some values here. Okay, so for that you can say suppose there are two values, suppose there are two comparisons, simply return that value, okay, that value which is greater, okay, which is greater, or you can perform different operations. Suppose if I say it will return a minus b, okay, return a minus b. Okay, so one thing which I did was I actually need to define it inside these. Okay, now I'll just say return a minus b. So now what will actually happen is suppose if I say 71, 29, something like this, okay, and 14. Okay, so let's see what will actually happen. Okay, so now if I just hit enter, you can actually see it sorted accordingly. So it actually compared these two values. So 71 is actually compared with 2. Okay, so 71 minus 2, if the previous value is greater, then it will be changed. Okay, so that's how you can actually perform sorting operations. We'll be exploring these later on. Okay, although suppose if I switch the values, okay, suppose if I switch the values, suppose if I make it b minus a, what will actually happen is the array will be reversed like this. So that's how you can actually reverse the array directly. Okay, so there are actually different methods which you can learn inside sort, but this is just an overview that we have a sort method inside arrays in JavaScript. Okay, so we actually sorted a very basic array. Now what do we need is we can perform searching in array. Okay, suppose this was our array. Okay, this was our array. So I'll just cut it right now and I'll just paste it here. So suppose I want to search index of 2. Okay, so suppose I want to search the index of 29. So for that we can simply say that suppose I need to know that does 29 exist inside this array or not. So if it exists, we'll get its index. If it does not exist, we won't get anything. Okay, so let's see. So suppose I'll say index of, suppose if I say I want to get the index of 54. Okay, 54. Now if I hit enter, you can see I'm getting -1. Why am I getting -1? Because 54 is not available in this array. Okay, suppose if I introduce 54 here. I just say that we have 54 here. Okay, now if I test this, now you can see it's giving me the third index. Oh, so that's how you can actually get the index of the array item. If it's available, it will be given, else you would receive -1, and then you can perform the logic separately. Okay, so this is a method for actually getting it. You can actually call one more thing, that is includes. Okay, includes also does the same job. Includes. Okay, so now if I just try this again, you can actually see that it's giving us true. Okay, previously it was giving us the index, now it's giving us true. Okay, so suppose if 124 is available or not, so it will be giving us false. So for getting the index, you can use index of. For getting the true or false, you can actually use includes. Okay, so I hope you're clear with the difference. And there are actually different methods. So suppose you want to get the maximum value of an array. Okay, suppose you want to get the maximum value, so you can simply say let max. Although you can actually get maximum and minimum value by simply sorting the array. Definitely you can sort the array and sort the array in ascending order, then you can get the last element. Okay, and the first element will be the minimum, the last element will always be the greatest. Okay, maximum. But we have a direct method here. We can simply say just need to call math. Okay, inside math we have different kind of methods. So we have a max method which will actually give us max value. Okay, inside this you just need to specify your array. So for specifying an array, you just need to write it like this. Okay, my array one. Okay, like write it like this so that your array will be loaded. Okay, so now if I just print this console.log max, let's see. So you can see I'm getting 71. By the way, just remove this. So now you can see I'm actually getting 71. This is 71. Suppose if I want to get minimum, okay, again you can call math.min. Okay, math.min, and inside this we can again pass the array. Okay, so now if I want the minimum value, I can just write comma minimum. Okay, so now it will return maximum and minimum value 71 and 2. Alright, so these were some max and min performance operations which we need to use. We can actually reduce an array to something like, if I want to get the sum of an array, okay, we can actually get the sum of arrays like, I'll just say let sum of array. We can actually get the sum of array by using for loops, but this is a different method. You can actually call my array one dot reduce. Okay, by calling reduce, inside reduce just need to say a comma b. Reduce actually converts the array elements into some different format. Okay, so you can simply say the current value, that is the initial value, will be 0. Okay, will be 0, and what operation do we want to perform is a plus b. Okay, so it will start from a plus b plus something like this. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, we want to actually check one more thing. We want to call sum of area. Okay, now it will work. So here you can see I'm getting the sum as 170, and I think it is correct. Okay, so that's how you can actually reduce the array to get its sum. You can actually perform different operations here also to get different states. All right, so one more thing is we can actually reverse an array by simply calling my array dot reverse. Okay, so I'll just say let reverse array is simply my array one dot reverse. Okay, so also you can see we have different methods here, so you can perform different operations here, and these suggestions are given by VS Code automatically, so you can play with this. Okay, so I just want to reverse. Okay, just call this. Now what will happen is your array will actually be reversed. So if I try to print my array, okay, if I just try to print my array here, okay, my array one here, now what will actually happen is your array will be reversed. Okay, but definitely the format is not, you will actually get descending order of array by simply calling this sort. By reverse simply means that it will be reversed in whatever format it is. Suppose this is an unsorted array, but the elements are now reversed. Okay, they will still be unsorted, but the elements are now will be reversed. Okay, so I hope you got this. and we can actually perform this by simple for loops also, but these are some built-in methods which you needed to know in arrays. So we'll be using these methods for further stages like learning about graphs and trees. We'll be using these a lot. Okay, these are some important concepts which I wanted to tell you. All right, so in the next video we'll be exploring more operations regarding arrays in JavaScript. These were some basics of arrays, and I just introduced you to some arrays, brushed up your basics of arrays, and introduced some basic methods which we had in arrays and how you can play with these arrays in your own way. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can definitely ask me on the live chat. And okay, so if you don't want to ask me doubts in the live chat, you can definitely personally message me on Instagram at the rate Harshan_3011. Okay, so this is my Instagram username. You can message me here, or you can search me on LinkedIn, Harshal Jain. All right. Hmm. Okay. So before ending this session, in the next session, we'll be covering operations of arrays. Okay, so before ending this session, in the live chat or in the description, you'll find a link of a course provided by Geeks4Geeks that is for data structures and algorithms in JavaScript. Okay, so this is a very great course, and you can check out that course. If you click that link, it will take you to this page. You just need to log in and register for this one. This is a paid course, and if you watch this course, it will definitely help you in web development and app development journey specifically. Okay, and also these concepts are majorly asked on the interviews, so it will actually help you a lot in your interviews also. All right, and you can actually check out the details of this course, and you can get an overview what will be taught inside this, what data structures and what algorithms will be taught inside this. Okay, so if you want to learn things from basic to advanced, you can check out this. And also it's taught by Sandeep sir, who's the co-founder of Geeks4Geeks. So he has a great teaching experience in this field, and since he's teaching from a lot of time. Okay, so I hope you understood this video, and in the next video we'll continue with arrays. All right, so that's it for today, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, see you, have a good day. Bye.